Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West Ham Weekly on the West Ham Voice. How much simpler could it be? Thank you all for joining me. Really much appreciated. Sorry, I wasn't on Monday night. I was away and I was catching up with an awful lot of stuff. Had an awful lot of work to do yesterday, and I just really didn't have any time or any energy after being to. Oh, did I tell anyone that I went to Seville last week, and then at the game at the weekend as well? So my apologies for being 24 hours late. A lot to get through tonight. Going to talk very briefly about Seville and the experience out there and the game itself, etc. Talk very briefly about the game against Aston Villa as well. Going through all the player news, player updates, injury news, and so on. As you saw in the title, have we got a crisis on our hands with injuries? And then, of course, looking forward to the Seville game on Thursday. It won't be a preview, but it'll just be a brief rundown of how Seville are doing, some of their players that might be back, and so on. And also a very, very brief light touch on the new transfer window, the Russian and the Ukrainian transfer window, and having a look at one or two players that might be of interest to us should David Moyes decide to actually finally bring anyone in. So before, and you know what's going to happen, we won't get anyone in, so it won't matter. But before we do that, why don't we say hello to everyone that's in the chat? Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo Snowy, Buffalo Snowy. I wonder if that's Father Snowman in another disguise. Good evening to you, and I hope you're well. Jovi, good evening, mate. Looking forward to Thursday. I think we all are, aren't we? Kent, hello, mate. Thank you for joining. I know you said you might not be able to, so really appreciated. Hammerette, have you got the spanner handy? Good evening to you as well. Good evening, Mr. Killington, the sensible brother of the Killingtons. Gary, hope you're well, mate. Good evening, Andy. How are you? Can't wait for Thursday. Good evening, Steve WHU. I hope you're well. Dan, how are you, mate? I'm going to have a chat with you. If not tonight, then maybe tomorrow, yeah? I'll give you a call and let me know when you're available. Howard, evening to you, mate. All you beautiful people. Black Country, how are you? Oh, no, that was for those of you who watched Claret and Blue on Saturday night. You might have noticed something going on that shouldn't have gone on, and I do apologise to ruining your evening. Mark Alexander, hello mate. I hope you're well. Pete XXXX, how are you? Counting down I know it's the biggest game of since when? The 1986 FA Cup final, maybe. Has to be. Paul Williams. Hello, mate. How are you? The man I shared a room with. Well, I didn't share a room with. I shared a very luscious apartment with in Seville. Thank you for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Kent, evening all. I'd be more confident if we didn't have those injuries becoming all season. Just come at completely the wrong time. I'll go through them. May not be as bad as you think, but you're gonna have to wait. Good evening, Paul Evans. How are you? Thank you for joining. Chris, hello, mate. Thank you for joining as well. Black Country, Steve, all chatting to each other. Much appreciated. Sharky, Hammer has become a mod here. Yeah, I made her a mod last night. She didn't even thank me for it. She didn't even say thank you. Good evening, Mr. Ratomski. Good luck for the walk. Oh, damn it. I haven't got any details. John, write in the chat all the details about the walk. John is doing a charity walk on Saturday for iron supporting food banks. So John, please put some details. I should have asked you about it earlier. My mistake. Chris, actually, let me go back to that. You're starting off from Wembley Stadium, I believe, and ending up at the statue at London Stadium. Is that correct, John? I think so. I'm going to try and get down to the Boleyn, the very lovely refurbished Boleyn pub to greet you, mate, if I can, and have a beer because they serve lovely beer now. Chris H, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Peter, anyone who plays has to play like gladiators and fight until the final whistle. If they give their all, we can ask for no more. Mate, we're going to win on Thursday. Black Country, what was I doing Saturday night? I was on Claret and Blue channel, mate. That's all. Julie, I hope you're well, Julie. Highlight my season's Yarmo's go and his reaction, the fans' reaction. United we stand. Absolutely, Julie. You're absolutely spot on there. It was quite an emotional moment, to be quite honest with you. Even Wiggy had a tear in his eye. Good evening, Mr. Jones. How are you? Thank you for joining, mate. Who else have we got? Yeah, still banned on Google and YouTube on girlfriend's account. Thought it was you, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening, Mr. Fenn. How are you? Thank you for joining as well. Two more sleeps until Seville. Well, Seville was last week. I mean, well, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Dan, no problem, mate. We'll have a chat on Thursday. Get there early. You know I won't get there early, but you get there early and wait for me. And then when I get there, we'll have a chat. Chris, better late than ever. than ever. She's fine. Garino, still Dick. It was a bit of a moment, I must admit. I must admit. Sharky, since the 2012 playoff finals, fair play. That beats the fair play. It was not rather than 2006 FA Cup final. Absolutely. Kimbo, hello, mate. How are you? Good evening, Mr. Sampson. Did you get your message and did you get your spanner as well? Devon, hello, mate. How are you? Got a feeling we're going to turn it around on Thursday. It's going to be an electric in there. Sold out. Absolutely sold out. Back in blue, thanks, though. No problem, Toby. I only gave it to you to actually keep Hammerette in check. So, did you thank me? Obviously, too busy over the weekend to check your messages. Probably was. There you go. I'm being told off. Hello, James. Good evening to you. I hope there's now a sequel to the novel, The Blind Man of Seville. It'll be called The Blind Drunk Man of I hardly touched the drop out there, to be quite honest. You didn't have time. I was sightseeing. Hornswostler, evening all from out here in the Atlantic. I bet it's cold out there, isn't it? I hope you're well, mate. Good evening to you. Sharky, 11 Russell Crows on the pitch. Well, yeah. 11 Spartacus is on the pitch. I think that's better than Russell and his, well, I don't know. You take your pick. Good evening. Oh, no, I won't say hello to Carney. Let's just get rid of that. Good evening, Anil. How are you? Special game. Wouldn't it be lovely to win against both Seville and Spurs? It's possible. It will happen. We'll beat Spurs and we'll beat Seville. We'll get through. We'll keep Spurs at arm's length in the league and we'll get through to the next round. That's how confident I am. Cheeky bid for Felix in the summer. Felix, that's a new one to me. You're going to have to give me a bit more. Ken, any news on if how we get to Chelsea? Well, let's just touch on that. Oh no, I'll get to that in a minute, mate. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my train of thought. But yes, kind of news, kind of. Peter, Chelsea asked for Borough Cup game. Well, there you go. You beat me to it. Behind closed doors, they were denied it. So there's some agreement made about Chelsea playing, bringing fans to the Borough game, which must mean that West Ham fans will be able to go to the Chelsea game in some manner. Hornswostler, mate, it's warmer here than in mainland UK. It's warmer anywhere than in mainland UK. Good evening, Nigel. Felix the cat. Yeah, I don't know. Are we bidding for Felix the cat? Anyway, let's. I was going to start the show about talking about Seville, but something kind of overshadowed that to a point, to be quite honest with you. And that, of course, was what happened at the weekend with one and only Andre Yarmolenko has already been mentioned. He came on in something like the 56th, 57th minute of the game, and it felt like it was meant to be, didn't it? Look, no one can really imagine what's going on in his mind at the moment. To most fans, up until Sunday, they thought he was just another player who didn't seem to enjoy or relish wearing the claret and blue. He was just another player at West Ham who came in to pick up his handsome salary each week and then disappear into the ether until his contract runs out, not really giving a damn. He's been called many things and he's been accused of many things. He's been accused of no passion, no fight, uncaring, emotionless, a footballing mercenary, and a lot worse by a lot of other people. And yet, when he came on the pitch as a sub for Antonio, everybody in that stadium stood up and clapped. Now, I've been told, because I'll be honest with you, I can see I'm the other end of the away fans. I've been told that the away fans, when they saw what was happening, they all stood up and clapped for him as well. Who knows? If that's what they did, I think that was a great gesture, but I can't corroborate that. But you know what? When it comes to the football, all of a sudden, it looked like we had a very different player on our hands. He looked lively. He looked up for it. He looked vibrant, energetic, a bit like a centre forward should. And it became the focal point of our offensive drive. And This wasn't an Antonio. This wasn't a player that's going to run the channels. This isn't a player that's going to be ramming the defense, battering them to death. He's a footballer that reminded us fleetingly when he scored that sublime goal just why Manuel Pellegrini paid 17 million pounds for him 3 seasons ago. Look, um, look, everything about what happened on at that moment was just absolutely superb. The man broke down in tears. I think there was a tear shed, or one or two tears shed in the stadium as well. It was a sublime moment for a goal that was taken with the outside of his left peg, just absolutely brilliantly. And he just showed us a glimmer of what he's like, what he's capable of doing. The fact that Antonio and Bowen were both not fit um, actually made sure that Moyes had no choice but to play Yarmolenko in the middle. Because had Antonio been taken off and Bowen was on the pitch, Bowen would have gone in the middle, and Yarmolenko would have gone out on the right. And I don't think we would have seen the Yarmolenko that we saw for those 40 odd minutes in the game. Look, what's going on in his head. He's just managed to bring his wife and children back from Ukraine. He's still got family out in Ukraine. He's still got friends out there, etc., etc. He came on the pitch. He looked gaunt. He looked like he'd lost an awful lot of weight, and and the last thing on his mind would have been about kicking a ball around. Yet he came on and he became the missing link to our West Ham issues up front. Ironically, he David Moyes stumbled, literally tripped over the plan B, quite literally. His overall display was excellent. He had fantastic skill, like I said. The way he controlled it with his right foot and then shot in with the outside of his foot for the goal was just superb. When he came off the pitch, when he left the pitch at the end of the game, he went into a dressing room. He was greeted by a standing ovation by the players and the coaching staff, and rightly so, which reduced him to tears again. Look, on the human front, I hope things work out really well in UK. I mean, it's poor, but on the human front for him, I hope his family are okay. I hope his friends, etc., are okay. And on the footballing front, if Yarmolenko is used in the manner that he's been used on Sunday, if he has to be used again against Seville, maybe, and I'll get to that in a minute. If he's used as a striker, we know what he can do. We know the amount of goals he's got for Ukraine, and there's no reason why you don't. What do we get frustrated about with Antonio? He keeps running the flanks, and then he crosses a beautiful ball into the court, into the center of the 18-yard box, and there's no one there to head it in. Why? Because we expect Antonio to be there. Yarmolenko's not going to run the flanks. Yarmolenko, if you put him in the middle, he's not going to run the flanks. He's going to cause problems for defenses in a very different way to Antonio would. Antonio will use his brute force. Yarmolenko will use his skill. And I'm really pleased for him. I'm really pleased. Look, the game itself, I'll speak about a bit more about it in a moment. Anyway, let's move on to Seville, because that was certainly a momentous occasion out there last week. Well, what can I say about a trip that was just absolutely superb in many ways? Look, the fans out there, people are saying there were 10,000 fans out there. I actually don't think there were. I think, certainly the away end was absolutely ram packed. And there were a good smattering of fans in the home end as well. 10,000, I put it down to maybe half that, but nonetheless, the amount of support out there was just unbelievable. The sun was shining, the fans were in good spirits. Some suggest, and there was plenty of fans in the home end, like I say, and we made it a great atmosphere. We made it a superb atmosphere. Look, we all know what happened on Wednesday night, the night before the game. It was marred by the fact that Eintracht Frankfurt fans were in town spoiling for a fight, and we were speculating actually. They came a little bit too prepared. Baseball bats and all that sort of stuff. And there was some speculation that there may have been some Seville fans with the Eintracht Frankfurt fans going against the West Ham fans. But I tell you something, this is one fight that we can't be accused of starting. Absolutely no way. The fans were attacked from both sides at O'Neill's bar in one of the squares, and they just protected themselves. That's all they did. And it was, the police were soon on it, and it was all broken up within a few minutes, is my understanding. It's funny. Myself and Paul were drinking in a bar around the corner, and I was googling how to get back to the apartment, and we just walked on the edges of it, and when it would just finished. Lucky that. Paul, I'm glad you drank my beer, mate. Otherwise, we would have left a little bit earlier and gotten gotten right into the thick of it. Look, the fans did themselves proud over in Seville, without a shadow of a doubt. The place, it's a beautiful city. If you've not been, go, because it is a wonderful, wonderful city. Really, really fantastic place. The fans did themselves proud before and after the game, and as well as in the stadium as well. And the procession to the stadium was just something to behold. It was superb. Literally walking down the main street of Seville, and just full of West Ham fans, and all the Seville residents were just taking photos and laughing at the songs. They were apparently asking the fans, what's that song about Chelsea you're singing? When it was explained to them, they thought it was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, let's move on. It's not a sightseeing video about Seville, but do go. It's beautiful. Anyway, we saw the lineup, and it was great to see that Declan Rice was back after his virus, and a couple of changes. Areola in goal, the cup goalie, which I think is always the right thing to do. And then the rest of the team, it was a choice between whether Vlasic will play or whether Ben Rama will play. But this time it was Vlasic that got the nod. And within the first few minutes, oh my goodness me, he had a great opportunity to put us in front. Now look, I think it was a good save by the keeper, because when the ball came across to him, Vlasic, you're always taught to sort of head the ball or kick the ball back to the direction it's going, because what will happen is the goalie and the defenders will all be going the way, will be following the trajectory of the ball, and if you try and aim it the other way, then chances are you'll score. I just don't think he got enough on it, but I think it was still a good save by the keeper. He got a good claw on it, but it was the follow up really that was probably worse than the Vlasic header. Antonio's air kick was, it is what it is, isn't it? But the standout player for me and for many people was, of course, Ben Johnson. He had a superb game, a coming of age game, I think, down the right hand, down as a right back against Seville. He was superb. Nothing he did was wrong. It was a standout performance, and I was really, really pleased for him. Look, the rest of the game, we were in it at half time and 0-0, and then we got into the second half, and a training ground goal is all I can say. Everyone got dragged to the corner ball, and I can't remember who it was. Was it Munir or Mir that scored the goal? And it was a great goal. Let's not, no denying it. It was a very, very well taken goal, very, very well planned. 1-0 up. But look, the way I see it, and I'm sure a lot of you do, it's only half time. It is only half time. The second half will be at the stadium with it's rammed. Apparently, we got rid of another 500 seats yesterday within about 5 or 10 minutes or so when they were put up for sale. 60 odd thousand fans, and if we can build half the atmosphere that the Seville fan, and I'll tell you, it wasn't packed there. They had a lot of gaps in the home end, but they did create a noise. They do all the scarf waving, and they created a noise, and it was something to behold, I must admit. If we can create even half that atmosphere, that will be the 12th man behind West Ham, and looking forward to it. I'll talk again a little bit about Seville later on in the show. Right, and then we went on, of course, to Villa. I don't know. Everyone was speculating. I was like, oh, this is going to be a game we're going to lose. Villa are on form. We're not scoring goals, etc., etc., etc. I wasn't that concerned by it for some reason. Maybe it was the 3 double rums I drank before with Wiggy before the game. I don't know. Put my nerves at ease. Maybe that might have been it. Look, Fabianski was back in goal. Ben Rama got the nod. He was back in the attacking lineup. But the rest of the team, it's much of the sameness, really. We haven't got a lot to choose from. Look at the bench: Areola, Fredericks, Diop, Masuaku, Noble, Kral, who's hardly been used, and then 3 youngsters. Oh, sorry, and Yarmolenko as well. So the team, the first 11, more or less picks itself. When in Europe, you're going to see Areola in goal, and it will be a toss up between Vlasic and Benrahma. And when in the league, you're going to see Fabianski in goal. And early in the game, Fabianski pulled off a fantastic save, didn't he? You know, the one where he knocked it on the post and then he grabbed it, and he played excellently, Fabianski. Someone must have shouted out to him at a home game a few weeks ago, "Get off your line," and he started doing it. Isn't that amazing? What Stell could do at a West Ham game. A few weeks back, I was literally shouting at him, "Get off your line!" I don't know you. I mean, how do you know if you think he heard it or not? But all of a sudden, he started getting off his line. So I'll take credit for that. Anyway, Zuma and Dawson were absolutely sublime at the back again. Excellent defending. Souček and Declan, great at controlling the ball. Souček's getting better. He's getting back to his sort of old self again. A little bit more confident, a little bit more energy about him. And as I've already mentioned, the change that was enforced on Moyes in the second half was taking Antonio off and bringing Yarmolenko on. But whether by design or by default, the tactic worked. Putting Yarmolenko in the middle of the pitch, as I said earlier, I think was was a good thing, really. And in a way, as I've said already, had Bowen be playing, you'd know Bowen would have been dragged into the middle and Yarmolenko out wide. I don't know, maybe Bowen would have scored as well. But Yarmolenko's touch, like I said, absolutely superb. And that's where we were. The touch, the strike on goal. It was just a moment. It was one of those moments where you just you felt for him. It really buoyed the fans. It was superb, and it set us on our way. And then of course the Declan run, and then the layoff by Benrahma, who scored, who provided 2 goals on the day, laying it onto Fornals, and it's great to see Fornals as well getting on the score sheet again, which was fantastic. It stopped our mini rot in the league. We haven't won for quite a while. Is it something like 3 or 4 games, which is great. Plus, all those chances that we've been creating against Southampton, against Liverpool, etc. We finally started to put a few of them away, which was really, really good. The downside, well, you know what? The downside for me isn't all about West Ham. It's about Aston fucking Villa, diving all over the place, breaking our momentum. Like it was Brentford and Leeds all over again. The minute the ball went anywhere near one of their players, they were down as if they'd been sniped. It was really, I'm for a Steven Gerrard type of team. I was really surprised. I was really shocked at how many times, they kept diving and going down and holding their fucking arms and their legs and their heads, and no wonder we had 6 minutes additional time in the first half. They wasted an awful lot of it. Look, that was the only downside. The other downsides maybe is the injuries that we picked up with Antonio and Cresswell, but I'm going to come to those in a little while. Just one more bit of news before we move on. Is that I've mentioned it already, the Chelsea fixture. Up until earlier today, we thought that there's a possibility that there may not be any fans. But Chelsea have shot themselves in the foot, haven't they? By asking for Borough to play behind closed doors because they couldn't take any fans with them. I think that's the stupidity of Chelsea, the sheer arrogance and the sheer greed of them as well. That meant that what's really going to happen is now that they're being allowed to bring some fans along, I don't know, maybe they're all going to get free tickets or whatever. That means the doors open for the reverse. That must mean that West Ham fans will be able to get to see the game against Chelsea at that shithole in April. And even if we get tickets for nothing, who cares? Anyway, let's move on. Let's see some comments because there's quite a lot. My God, you lot are in spirits tonight. Let's see who's in here. Let's scroll up as far as I can go. Good evening. Yeah, done that one. Mr. Here we go. Mr. Ratomski. Okay, folks, here it is. DJ Russ and I are doing a 17-mile charity walk to raise funds for Newham kids at Easter. We'll leave the Bobby Moore Wembley statue at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And amble across to the new 1965 statue at the London Stadium and then finish at the 1966 statue on Green Street. I'm sure Stell has the donation link. You guessed wrong. I completely forgot, John, and I feel really, really bad, and I'm really sorry about that. So there you go, people. If you want to support them, they start over my neck of the woods. Wembley's only up the road from me, and then they'll walk to the new stadium. Sorry, I got it wrong earlier. They walk to the London Stadium first, the new statue, and then they walk on to finish at the statue, the old statue at the Boleyn. So do join them, or at the very least, do John. You're gonna have to put the link in for the donation, mate. I'm really sorry. Do donate if you can. Support them, or meet them for a drink and buy them a beer at the Boleyn pub at the end of it. Peter, I love it if Chelsea cease to it. It won't. You know what will happen, mate? They will be allowed to actually sell the club, and they will get another billionaire who's going to buy them even more trophies. You know that's going to happen. Hammer it. I've removed them both. Why can't you see? Can you still see? Because they're late. So thank you for removing them, but they come up late on my chat. And when they don't disappear on my platform, I'm afraid. Gary, great cause, John. Absolutely, Kimbo. Talking to each other. Sharky, that would be a sight to see, Peter. What would be a sight to see, Peter? Oh, what, to see Chelsea? It won't happen, unfortunately. You know it won't. You know it won't happen. Nigel, ETA, John, you get to the Boleyn. Well, I'm predicting that John will get to the 17-mile walk. I'm predicting that John will arrive there at probably about 6 in the evening, and I'm predicting that Russ will probably turn up the following morning. And I'll tell you what, it was a lovely moment for him, but my God, what a touch and finish for that. Absolutely, mate. It was sublime. Absolutely sublime. Good evening, Claret and Booze, guys. I'm sure it's probably Nick in the background. I hope you're well. Hammerette, a beautiful moment in footballing history. The Villa fans did applaud him with a... Okay, that's good that you confirm that. Thank you for that. That's great. Peter, score first on Thursday, then the world is our lobster. We're going to have to score first. If they score first, well, we'll win 3-1, won't we? Anil, I've always maintained Yarmolenko had an important goal before his contract's up. Hopefully a few more. And boy, did we get it. John, Russ reckons we'll get to Green Street about no chance. No chance. You won't get there at 3 p.m. from 10 a.m. Good luck. I'll give it 5 or 6 p.m. Bike from Boleyn and others will be there to meet us. I believe Bunting will be involved. Kent, Yarmolenko did great on Sunday. He played like a striker, stayed central, ran around. He's not been my favourite player, but fair play to him and much respect to him for playing in the situation his country is in. Absolutely. Last thing on your mind, isn't it? But yeah, he played like a striker. That's why I'm sort of saying Moyes has literally tripped over his plan B. Hammer it. I'm pretty close to the away fan, Sharky, and I did see some of them clapping after we'd given them a standing ovation. That's good to know. Good evening, Stuart. How are you, fellas? I'm going with 3-1 on Thursday. Fantastic, mate. John, thanks all for the good wishes. John, please do put a link in for the donate button. Useless, aren't I? Should have asked you earlier. Sharky, fair enough. Yeah, great. Who else have we got? Grassham, good evening to you, mate. I reckon Yarmolenko responded to the love, and you you know all about the love still. I sure do. Danny WHU, good evening to you. 4 pies and 2 mash and liquor for Thursday night with me feet up. Come on, you irons. Fantastic, mate. You know, it doesn't matter if you're there or not. A fan is a fan. Peter wants to know if you're on a diet, mate. Chris, good evening to you. Came for the banter, stayed for the graphics. Mate, stay. Don't go anywhere. I've got loads more graphics coming up. Danny, quitting my job tomorrow and I'm going to enjoy the rest of the week and the weekend binge. Well done to you. Fantastic. I hope your future goes well, mate. Absolutely. Black Country still looks knackered. I did explain to the missus when she was sober the following day what happened, and she didn't believe me. I said, you were live. She said, no, I don't believe you. You were just chatting to your mates. And I said, no, you were live on screen. There were several, a couple of hundred people watching you. Sean, update your background to the London Stadium. Time to move on. Shut up, Sean. Claret and Booze. Yes, Dan, 4 pies and 2 mash. Man after my own heart. Who eats? No, I better not ask the question. I know what's going to happen. I won't ask the question. Danny again. My 3 older brothers were outside O'Neill's when it kicked off. One of my brothers hit in the head with an object, hoping would knock some sense into it. Did it? I hope it's all right though, mate. Hamrat, can you all please oh yeah, sorry. please hit the like button. It would really, really help this because it's a new channel. So please hit the like button. And if you fancy it, subscribe as well. And you can hear me talking rubbish every single time. You'll get a little ding or something, a little bell telling you I'm on again. So please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Thank you, Hamret, much appreciated. Hornswassler, so Antonio or Yarmo on Thursday. I'm going to get to that in a minute, mate, when I talk about player news. Danny, we're driving 44 miles on Thursday morning to Mans in Sutton for me pie and Mac. Oh, in Sutton. Wow. Is it true Stell wrote all the songs? Anil, if we beat Seville, we could be playing at the Spotify Camp Nou, provided Barcelona get through. Never know. Meet him in the final and smash the shit out of them, I say. Hornswassler, Rice dropped back against Villa, a bit like last season. He did. He's been doing that for the last few weeks. And look, it's changed, doesn't it? We started to win games. David N, good evening to you. Hello, still going Thursday? Sure am, mate. And the place is going to be rocking. Absolutely, it will be. Danny, Mogo is Romani gypsy language for filth, is it? Didn't know that. Thank you for enlightening us. Danny, order your pie and mash from Maureen's. I've been to Maureen's. Nigel took me there. Very nice indeed. He was disgusted when I picked up a knife to try and eat my pie and mash. But anyway, let's not go there. Peter, I remember the old days when people told Mervyn Day to stay on his line. He used to practically stand on the halfway line sometimes. Sometimes I wish Fabianski would get a little bit further out, to be honest with you. Let's see. Paul, so true. Cheating didn't fuck me. I mean, every minute of the game, they were trying to break up our momentum. And I tell you, it was horrible to see. Vinay, Masuaku voice with Stel is a good. Masuaku voice with Stelios Hammer is a good channel. Don't wind me up. Don't wind me up. You know, I'm happy at the moment. Let's scroll down a bit and get in a few more comments. Kent, Chelsea should give tickets to West Ham for nothing. Then West Ham should steal for 30 quid and give money to you. Great idea. Why not? Great idea. I think that's a fantastic idea. Vinay, government will decide who gets Chelsea. Rees-Mogg could end up the new owner of Chelsea. Peter Jones, has anyone else noticed West Ham or getting more physical and aggressive in the last 23 games? Well, this is interesting because Steven Gerrard talked about, you know, he knew his team were in some battle, and apparently Digne's gone off with, he needs, I don't know what he needs. You know, he's been knocked sideways, and a few other players needed tend to a few bruises as well. Good. About effing time that we started to get a little bit nasty in our game. You know, we've had teams doing it to us, so get out the aggressiveness and take it out on the opposing team. Don't get a red card, but absolutely good. Good. I'm glad we're doing that, Peter, to be honest with you. All this pie and mash is making me hungry. David, did you see the video clip of interview about Gerrard's future as an England manager? He said, as long as right, yeah, that's respect. Absolutely. He knows a class player when he sees one. You know, Declan is twice the player Gerrard ever was. Did I say that out loud? No, he is. He is. And great. Yeah, Gerrard as future England manager, so long as it ain't Fat Frank, then that's all right then. Cheers, Graham Blues. When I get to London Stadium, I always arrive an hour early before the game. Waiting to get into Westfield car park is a struggle, so I'm rushing and turning up late. Oh, you should never turn up late. I never turn up late. Do I, people? Vina, Yarmo's a striker in a tight game when you can't counter attack can work. Yarmo is a great shot and intelligence with passing and movement. He is slow, but inside the area is lethal. That's where you want your striker to be. You want him to be in the center of the box. You know, you don't want him to be out and running the flanks, etc. Hammer, I'm usually at the pub until 20 minutes before the game, but not this time. I'm going to be in the ground at least an hour before kickoff. Aren't you buying me a drink? A drink then? Sean, John, have you got St. John's ambulance on standby for the? How cruel you are! Right. When do you guys meet before a drink? Either the Grove or the Supporters Club, one or the other. Trev, how are you, mate? Of course I'm here. Thank you for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Mike, good evening to you. Just got back home from the gym. What I meant? Nothing. You've missed nothing. Don't worry. Absolutely nothing. Mike again saw an article that said Lanzini is possibly thinking about moving to. That was about 3 months ago, mate. But great for you to catch up. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I think he'll probably end his career there, but probably not for a while yet. Good evening, Chris. Again, I might have said good evening already. BJ's in Canning Town for the best pie and mash. You can also go there and snigger. Nigel, you still on? Best pie and mash. Maureen's got to be, hasn't it? PGADS. Damn, I always get my UK times messed up after the daylight saving time. Miss nothing, PGADS. Absolutely. I talked about Yarmolenko very briefly and how fantastic it was for him, the emotional moment of him scoring, etc. And I'll talk very briefly about the Seville game last week, but I'll get onto that later. You haven't missed the best part of the show yet. Peter, we should take scorecards with us with all the divers that play. It was awful. It was really, really horrible to see. Really horrible to see. I'm going to scroll down and miss a few. Good evening, Mandy. Hi, Stel. Would you start Flattage and bring Yarma on later? Talk about that in a while. PGADS, I don't think West Ham have enough players other fans hate. You always need an enforcer or two. Good evening, Mice Collective. We mice always on time for games and food. You sure are. Did you turn up? You've only just turned up, though. David, look at Yarmolenko technical ability when he scored that goal. Now that's quality. Absolutely. Right, let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? And I know this is Nigel's favourite part of the show because it's all about this. So the women's team were back in action, and they were playing Birmingham away. And despite some sloppy defending, which could have seen them concede a penalty, the women's team beat Birmingham 1-0 away from home at the weekend. After an extended period out injured, Adriana Leone returned to score the winner from a Katarina Svitkova corner. That was Leone's only second goal of the season because of long spell of injury, and it was good to see her amongst the goals in a tough fixture. The women's team bounced back from yet another crushing 4-1 defeat against Chelsea only a few days earlier. Despite the loss to Chelsea, the win against Birmingham elevates the women's team to 6th in the league. And next up is their home game, which they're playing at the moment, or might have been finished already. I don't know, but they're playing Man United. Is it tonight or is it tomorrow? I could be wrong, actually. Could be tomorrow. I do stand corrected. Right, the under-23s were back in action as well. They had an away fixture to relegation threatened Chelsea last Friday. The team, I mean, household names now, aren't they? Some of them. Heggie, who's doing superb in goal. Ekwa, who we got from Chelsea, another outcast from Chelsea, holding midfield defender. Jamal Baptiste and Alese in central defence. Chesters, as we know, he's made an appearance now in the Premier League and a couple of appearances in the Europa League for the senior team. Perkins, Forsan, Occo Flex, Occo is an interesting story, which I've laughed out loud at. Everybody really, if they actually know anything, will know that Armstrong Occo Flex is not eligible to play in the Europa League for West Ham because he's a new player. He hasn't been with the club in the under-23s for a period of 2 years. So he's only just signed in the summer. And yet, a whole load of social media columns were writing, now's the time for Occo Flex to show what he's made on in Europa League. Well, fuck me. Unless something's changed in the last 2 or 3 weeks, he ain't going to play because he's not eligible. So I hate it when these so-called journalists, these professionals, get their information so badly wrong. Anyway, Occo Flex was in the game against Chelsea. And he was the one that provided the goal for Sonny Perkins in the 1-1 draw against Chelsea. It was a superb run through, a great ball through to Perkins, who lobbed the ball home for our 1-0 lead. What was also good was this young man, Will Greenidge, back from a long-term injury, who played his first game for quite a few months. He played at right back for the team, and it was good to see him back. Another highly rated youngster. The first half was quite even. It was a bit scrappy, etc. And it was 0-0 at half time. But in the 67th minute, as I said, Okoflex broke through. Great layoff to Perkins, and we were 1-0 up. However, with the lead lasted for around 13 minutes when Chelsea equalised. Then in the final 3 minutes of added time, a strange incident happened where Jamal Baptiste got sent off for an off the ball incident. He seemed to sort of, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he seemed to sort of bump into, I think it was the keeper. And then out of the blue, the ref showed him a red card. Look, still, anyway, a draw against Chelsea keeps West Ham in second place in the Premier League too, level on points with third place Arsenal, but with a game in hand on them. Although we're now 10 points adrift of league leaders Man City. However, we've got 2 games in hand over them. So if we do win those 2 games, we can close the gap to just 4 points. The under-23s next opponents are against mid-table opposition Brighton on the 18th of March. The under-23s also found out earlier on Monday as to who their Premier League Cup opponents are. And the under-23s will go through to the last 16 of the competition and face Leeds United at home on the 11th of April. The 2 teams have met twice already in Premier League 2, where they drew 2-2 back at Leeds back in September, and then they won their home fixture 3-0 West Ham in January. With the tie being played at home, West Ham will be favourites to go through to the quarterfinals of the Premier League Cup. The next league game for the development squad is this Friday against Brighton in Premier League 2, and it'll be held at the London Stadium. It'll be at the London Stadium. Right, the under-18s are also were also in action last Friday at home to third place Crystal Palace. Despite ramping up huge scores over the past few weeks, the under-18s won this game with a more modest result, just 2-1 instead of a 6-0 or a 5-0 or another 6-0 and all that sort of stuff. The result temporarily put them on top of the Premier League under-18s league until Southampton played their game in hand. The result was the under-18s' 9th win in 10 games, and they've been unbeaten in all competitions since December. Quite a remarkable achievement, I say. West Ham actually went behind in this game for the first time. They went behind for the first game since December. However, before halftime whistle came, West Ham equalised through Divin Mbama, who grabbed what was to be, and also a goal by Regan Clayton, which was to be the winner. West Ham spurned a number of chances to go even further ahead, but the win now leaves them 5 points clear of third place Palace and just 1 point behind league leaders Southampton. However, Southampton do have a game in hand. Right. Before I carry on, let's see who else is in the chat. Let's. How far up should I go? Let's go. Why don't we do that one? Peacads. When everyone was wanting Yarmo out, but I thought if there was a time for Yarmo to shine, it would be in Europe and as a sub and as a late sub late on. Look, no one actually has ever denied his skill, his quality. We all know he's got good technique, good skill, etc. But a lot of people were saying he was lazy, he wasn't running around, etc. But you're absolutely right. Put him in the middle of the park. Don't let him run around. Let him use his technique to do the business. Mike, what was the red card all about in the under-23s? Well, that was a mistake or frustration. I don't know. It looked to me when I sort of looked at the highlights, it looked to me he just sort of ran into him. I don't think he did it deliberately, but I don't know. Was it a red card? I'm not so sure. Danny, my dad even goes to West Ham home games. He always liked West Ham, but he chose Liverpool. Would he be welcome if people knew he was a Liverpool fan? Just don't tell anyone that he's a Liverpool fan, mate. Seriously, I think that might be the best thing to do. James, the first Stell show I've watched dry. Oh my God, you're not happy about it. Am I better when you're pissed? I feel sorry for Peter. I feel sorry for those who haven't seen us win anything apart from the Betway Cup. I do too. Mike, great assist from Okoflex in that game. The skill and the run was just superb. It was. It absolutely was. Absolutely agree, mate. Danny, I'm forever blown. That means a lot to me as well. My great nan, all she done was buy me bubbles as a kid, and I gave her the nickname. And since my first game at Upton Park, fantastic story. Thank you for that, mate. Trev, Okoflex's assist for the goal was special. Nicked the ball, ran half the pitch past a few players, laid on a great through ball to Sonny. Look, I think this boy's got a role to play. I'm sure, sooner or later we might see him, but we won't be seeing him in Europa. Who else have we got? Peter. Dorothy could make a name for himself, but wonder if Thursday might be Dorothy could make a name, but it might be too big for him. Dorothy. Who's Dorothy? Trev, Baptiste knew what he was doing. He flattened their keeper, seemed frustrated. Something to learn from, I guess. If he do that on purpose, then yeah, that's a youngster being a little bit too frustrated, I would say. So I agree. Victor, under 18s won 3-2 today as well. See, I can't keep up. Who did they play? I can't, didn't even know they were playing today. But well done to them. They are a fantastic team. They must be on top then, because Southampton will be playing again if they haven't played today. Mice, what about the West Ham Mice team still? We have Declan Rice, Mouse Suaku, manager is Mice, yes, Music, Jarrett Rodian. I don't know where you're going there with all this, mate. I really don't. Let's scroll down. Mike. Dabs, when we were eyeing up keepers, Johnson was our first choice. Areola was second choice. Johnson is on a free at the end of the season. Areola's wages are huge. Yeah, there is an awful lot of talk. Hello, Dabs. Where are you, mate? I didn't see your comment. Oh, there it is. Have you seen the rumour that we're apparently in talks with Johnson already? Mate, been talking about this for quite a while. Whether I guess it would make sense. A lot of people are saying that Areola's wages will be the hindrance to us signing him on a permanent. I don't know. I like Areola. I think Johnson's a good goalie as well, but I really like Areola. So I don't know what the truth is there, to be honest with you. If we get Johnston, not bad, not bad. Getting for free. We've been talking about the likelihood of us getting something like 3 players who are free agents is quite high. Lingard, Tarkowski, and Johnston were the 3 that I thought. So if we are in talks with Johnston, then it wouldn't surprise me at all. Excuse me, Peter. I hope Heggie comes through. Great goalie. Fantastic young goalie. Absolutely. And talking of transfers, let's move on to the next part of the show. So shall we? Because it is all about. So I'm sure you've all heard the story now that FIFA have decided to put a temporary transfer window in place for the Ukrainian and the Russian leagues, which will end on the 7th of April, I believe, 7th or 10th. Let me think. No, started on the 10th of March, finishing on the 7th of April. And basically, they're giving any player, a foreign player and foreign coach, the opportunity to find a new team. Basically, for Ukraine, it's automatic. The Ukrainian league, it's automatic. Players can start negotiating. Foreign players can start negotiating deals with other teams. And in Russia, if players haven't made a mutual agreement between themselves, foreign players again, mutual agreement between themselves and the clubs that they play for, then they're eligible. They're free agents, as from the 10th of March through to the 7th of April to find another club. Now, this is, from my understanding, this is a short-term transfer policy, meaning that it will be, a player can move to another team, sign a contract until the end of the seasons in Ukraine and Russia. What happens thereafter, I don't know. My thinking is, because I've not got details on it, is that then they will go back to their respective teams if possible. So in Ukraine it might be a bit more difficult, but in Russia, if the war, is over by then, etc., then it's possible that they could go back to their respective teams. So if that happens, will David Moyes look at any targets? Look, if he did, my thinking is I don't think he will. But if he did, then it's quite possible for him to maybe decide that he's got enough cover in defence, We know otherwise. Yes, yes. He may have enough cover in defence, but he may decide with all the injuries to Bowen and Antonio, etc., etc. He may just decide to look at the market and see if there's anyone that he can maybe pick up on a bargain until the end of the season. Look, I've got an opinion on this. I think uh, there are two ways of looking at this. Moyes has got an opportunity to correct a big wrong that he made in January for not bringing any players in then. Especially in attack, well, in defence as well. But then the moral dilemma on this is, yes, you're giving foreign players the opportunity to move away, from trouble-torn Ukraine and from Russia, but it feels like we're benefiting of the expense of this war, and I feel kind of a little bit uncomfortable about that. But the opportunity is there. Will David Moyes use it? I genuinely don't think he will. But let's focus on some of the players that maybe he might be tempted, if he did look at the market, to sort of maybe look a little bit more at. Let's start off with the Russian league. And first off, Claudinho, an attacking midfielder for Zenit St. Petersburg. He signed for them in 2021. He's contracted with them until 2026, 25 years of age. He signed from Red Bull Bragantino in Brazil for a fee of around £10 million. His career stats at Red Bull Bragantino were, as you can see, 126 appearances, 32 goals, and 25 assists. Not bad, that. And at Zenit so far this season, 23 appearances, 9 goals, and 4 assists. Again, pretty good stats. And he's made appearances for the Brazil under 23s. Next up is Mateo Cassiera, an attacking midfielder who plays for FC Sochi. He joined them as well last season, and he's contracted until 2023, 24 years of age. He signed from Belenenses in Portugal for a mere fee of just 1 million. When he was in Portugal, he played 70 games, 15 goals, 1 assist. And for Sochi so far this season, 15 goals, 15 appearances, 8 goals, and 4 assists. And he's also an under 23s international for Colombia. Next up, this one I like. This one I think is quite interesting. Attacking right winger, Anders Dreyer, who plays for Rubin Kazan. He joined them 2021, contracted till 2026, 23 years of age. He signed from FC Midtjylland in Denmark for a fee of £5 million. In his career at Midtjylland, he made 70 appearances, 18 goals, and 22 assists. And so far for Rubin Kazan this season, 14 appearances, 8 goals. And he's also a Danish international. He's made 2 appearances for them as well. I like the sound of him. Interesting young player, decent, can make assists, etc. Who knows? Next up, remember this man? Victor Moses, attacking midfield. He now plays for Spartak Moscow. He joined them, guess when? Yeah, in 2021. Contracted till 2024, 31 years of age, signed from Chelsea for a fee of around £4.5 million. In his Chelsea career, he made 128 appearances, 18 goals, and 13 assists. I had to put in his career stats for West Ham: 26 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. And so far for Spartak Moscow, 45 appearances and 6 goals and 8 assists. And his international career, 38 appearances for Nigeria with 12 goals. And to throw in a defender, let's just not look at attackers. Of course, Dejan Lovren, central defender and captain of Zenit St. Petersburg. He joined him in 2020, signed from Liverpool for a fee of around 9 million. He's contracted with them till 2023, 32 years of age, a veteran. Called himself once the best defender in the world, didn't he? Or something to that effect. Liverpool career stats: 185 appearances, forget the goals, etc. Doesn't matter for a defender. Zenit, 47 appearances so far. And for Croatia, he's made 70 appearances so far. Right. What about over in Ukraine? Well, there's a number of different players there as well. Tete is an attacking right winger for Shakhtar Donetsk. He joined them in 2019 when he was still youth at Gremio. He signed them from the youth system for a fee of around 30 million. Wow, 13.5 million for a youth player back then. Contracted with them till 2023, age 22 years of age. He's made 108 appearances so far for Shakhtar, scoring 31 goals with 15 assists, and he's made 2 appearances for the Brazilian under 23s. And his partner in crime, Pedrinho, I tell you what, the Ukrainians and the Russians love Brazilian players. There's a whole plethora of them. Pedrinho, attacking winger from Shakhtar Donetsk as well. He joined them last year, 2021, contracted till 2025. He's 23 years of age. He signed them from Benfica for a fee of £16 million. He made 31 appearances for Benfica, scoring just the 1 goal and 4 assists. I don't know what they saw in him then, but anyway, maybe it's just Benfica that need to get rid of him. Who knows? He's Shakhtar Donetsk career stats so far: 19 appearances, 4 goals, 3 assists, and Brazil under 23s making 14 appearances with 3 goals. Apparently, this man has got pace to burn. And you may be a little bit familiar with this young man, Lassina Traore. He's a striker for Shakhtar Donetsk. Joined him in 2021, contracted till 2026, age 21. He signed from Ajax in the Netherlands, excuse my spelling, for a fee of around £9 million, and he left because Allaire joined. His Ajax career stats: 31 goals. Apparently, when we were selling Allaire, there was talk about maybe looking at bringing this young player to West Ham United. That was the rumor back then. 31 appearances for Ajax, 12 goals, 12 assists, and appearances for Shakhtar: 14, 9 goals, no assists. He's a Burkina Faso international with 17 appearances and 7 goals. Next up, Olivier Thiel, attacking midfielder for SV Vorskla, contracted till 2023, age 25. He joined Vorskla on a free transfer. His previous club was Russian club FK Ufa. So far, 32 appearances, 12 goals, 9 assists for the Russian club. And he's a Luxembourg international with 39 appearances and 3 goals. So there are some interesting players there. I don't know what I genuinely don't think Moyes will bother. But there are 1 or 2 players that may be worth a look in. And who knows? Who knows? He could. He might surprise us all. He might surprise us all and go for 1 or 2 of them. But it won't surprise me if he goes for none of them. So let's scroll down and let's see what we got in the chat before we go on to the last part of the show. Well, semi-last part of the show. Danny, I think we should try and sign Dean Henderson as well, and Jesse Lingard in the summer. Jesse Lingard, I think, is coming anyway. He'll be at West Ham. Mice Collect, Anil, Mice Collect, do you think Rakitic will play? Going to get onto him in a minute because I think he will. Vinay, I prefer to keep Areola, better the devil you know. But if you want to be a top team, you need a Rolls-Royce keeper. Yeah, I think he was good. I think Areola's good. I wouldn't mind keeping him. Buffalo. 3-2 today was against Brighton still. Thank you for that. What did I say? I said they're playing Brighton, didn't I? Didn't register that was today. Thank you for that. Ian, good evening to you. Yes, Stella, I read that. I had to laugh. What, mate? I'm so far. How far am I? I'm 15 minutes behind, so I can't remember what I said that made you laugh. But I'm glad I made you laugh. Dan, 140k a week for a goalkeeper is madness. Not surprised that they've moved on to other targets to use the money on other players. It is a lot, but is he not worth it? Would we not do a deal with him and say, look, we can't afford 140 grand a week. We want to sign you permanently for, I don't know, 138 grand a week or something. Danny, Cedric Bakambu just joined Marseille for 9.8 million in the transfer window. I don't know what that was related to. You must have been replying to someone else. Pegads, West Ham can handle massive wages now, but doesn't the new owner make his money in Russian gas? Yeah, but he won't be affected by it. Don't worry about that. Danny, a player we've been linked with in 2019-20 transfer window. Valuations back then, 18, 20 mil. Oh, you're talking about Bakumba. Victor, under 18s play Southampton away next. What did I say? My apologies if I got that wrong. Mike, still, do you think Arthur Masuaku's time at West Ham is done? It was done about 3 years ago, mate, to be really, really, really honest with you. Hammerette, I'd love to set Stella up on an interview with a surprise guest and Massa rocks up. I'd love to interview him. I'd love to. Be fantastic to interview Arthur. Pash Beat, good evening to you. How have I arrived at this video? I don't know, but welcome and thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoy it. If you, hit the like. By the way, hit the like button and the subscribe button and all that sort of stuff, because I'm shit at doing that. Richard, so how many players are out of contract at the end of the season? Oh God, now you got me. There's about 3 or 4. But I'm gonna have to do I'll have to do a separate show on that. Dabs, no, I haven't, mate. That's coming up in a minute. So hang on. Got to get rid of this as well. My apologies. Dan, I can't see Moyes bothering. He takes so long to bleed players into the team. The season would be over before he gave them a go. That is so true. Good evening, Long Dark. We need at least 8 players to stay in the top 4 every season. We do. I've calculated that we need at least 6 because of players leaving at the end of their contracts and the age of some other players. But we know we're not going to get 6. I think we'll be lucky to get 4. Peter, Moyes is more likely to look at Taggart than a target. Mike, has anyone seen much of Joe Worrell? Apparently, we're in for mate. We've been in for him for the last 2 seasons. He's a decent young championship centre back. Vinay, not really benefiting from the war. It's making the most of it for all parties. Fair enough, Vinay. I don't know. I've got a bit of a dilemma with it, but fair enough. Danny, Claudio in talks to go to Portugal or Brazil. There you go. See, you're ahead of me. Pete Gads, Tete from Donetsk would be nice. A lot of people are talking about, he would be a decent player to get. Peter, if we get Worrell, Lacey could go in part. No, it wouldn't be. Apparently, it's the left back whose name skips me. Who played left back in the Europa League. Apparently, they're looking at him. Benfica scored Nunes. They're playing tonight, aren't they? Champions League. Not champion. No. Yeah. Benfica versus Ajax. Everyone remembers that wonderful January transfer window. We were never going to get Darwin Nunes, were we? Mike, Benfica v Ajax is funny because it's basically our old striker Hilaire against the one we want. Very true. Hammerette, when the ball hits the back of the goal, it's not Shearer or Cole, it's Zamora. All right, you're singing to me and putting me off my stride, but well done. James, I'm lagging a minute behind. Can you have a lengthy musical interlude leading us to the next part still? Coming up, if you haven't caught up already, mate. Danny, a lot of Brazilians playing the Russian league over the years. Yep, absolutely. Vinay, Moyes is a one-striker man, married to Antonio. No one compares to Mickey, so he won't get anyone in the winner. You know what? He will not buy a striker in the summer. Telling you now. I know a lot of you are thinking he's got to. He will not buy another striker in the summer. Hammerit, the cut-off for players in Russia is the 4th of April. I thought it was the 7th, but I'll stand corrected. I thought it was the 7th for both Ukrainian and Russian league. Let's just sign the whole Russian league. Wouldn't do that, mind you. I don't know what their wages are like. Trev, we could do with some pacey players in mind. We can do with a few players. Pigads, there are Brazilians that have changed their nationalities to Ukraine. I wonder what their status is. Oh, it depends on whether it's dual nationality or not, I guess. Yeah, good point. Mike Theory, from Vinay, I agree Yarmolenko is a better striker in the box. Antonio is a pace merchant. I think we all agree that, don't we? James, out of my hands, Hammerette. Will you imagine yourself and Mr. Hammerette in a gondola and listen to that tune? What are you lot on about? Could offer effects be our version of the Geordie Road Runner? Peter, Danny, Hulk, 35 years age, played 50 games for Atletico Mineiro and has scored something like 30 goals. Oh, what's the league like though? Question I asked Charlie earlier: would you have Areola or a midnight is Ludo in goal on Thursday? Midnight is Ludo. Steve, yeah, Rakitic did play at the weekend. I'm going to get onto that in a minute. Let's scroll right down. Peter, Masuaku was finished when he did that spit the dog impression at Wigan. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Epic, it's entirely possible that we'll sign no one in the summer. No, even I don't think that is possible. I really, on Longello, thank you, Chris, much appreciated. That's the name that's linked to Nottingham Forest. Pash again. Hi everyone, I'm new here. This bearded bloke in the call centre is good. Viva Arthemis. I know you're winding me up, but thank you for joining, Pash. Hit that bloody like button, Pash, for God's sake, and also the subscribe button so you can come and see me again. Picaz, will Moyes try to get Masuaku transferred to Russia? Good evening, Scott. How are you? Thank you for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Right, let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? Imagine transferring Masuaku to Russia. Oh, it's a dream come true, isn't it? It really is. Right. I'm going to keep the best till the end. So I'm not going to talk about injuries just yet. I'm going to talk about the players who are out on loan. Starting off with Joseph Anang. Anang kept his second clean sheet in a row for St. Patrick's Athletic over the weekend, which is now 3 clean sheets in 6 appearances for the Irish side since his loan move there in January. The 2-0 win put St. Patrick's level on points with league leaders Shamrock Rovers. Anang will be back in action again tonight. He's probably already played, and someone's going to tell me what the score was, just like the under 18s. Also, Connor Coventry was in action at the weekend for League One's MK Dons in an important top of the table clash against Wigan. Despite being 1-0 down with just a few minutes left in the game, the Dons managed to get back level on terms on the 88th minute. This was the MK Dons' 11th game in a row without defeat in their bid for automatic promotion into the Championship. Coventry has also been called up to the Republic of Ireland under 23 squad. I might have got that wrong. It could be the under 21 squad, which is he's captain on the last 9 occasions. The call up will mean he will miss the league game against Crewe at the end of the month. Nathan Holland, he was in action for 68 minutes. Oxford United, 2-1 winner against Shrewsbury at the weekend. Holland has been rotated in the squad for the past few weeks, so it was good to see him get a start. Oxford's win, Oxford United's win keeps them fourth in League One, only a few points behind MK Dons. People have been speculating, will someone like Holland come back and play for West Ham? He's in his last year of his contract. I don't think it will happen. I think he'll be released at the end of the season. Mipo Adebeko, also in League One. Despite showing some great promise, Mipo Adebeko is still looking for his first goal for relegation-threatened Doncaster Rovers. They lost again 1-0 at the weekend to relegation strugglers Gillingham. Despite his lack of goals, Adebeko has been called into the now I'm going to really mess myself up. I think it's the under 23s, and I've got in my notes under 21s. So I could be completely wrong. For someone's going to correct me. He's being called into the under somethings Republic of Ireland squad. It was a 3-year absence from that squad, so it's great for him to be called back. He's eligible to play also for Nigeria and even England, but he's cast his colours onto the Republic of Ireland mast, and that's really great. Also, another player out on loan, Nathan Trott, another goalie, been benched for the past few games. Is not been great for Nathan Trott. His side, Nancy, have not improved. They're still bottom of the league in French League Two and a dead cert to be relegated. Right, injuries. First off, Jared Bowen. Now, look, we all know Bowen's missed the last 2 games because of injury against Seville and Aston Villa, and he's almost definitely going. Well, not almost definitely going to miss. He's definitely going to miss the game against Seville on Thursday, and probably definitely going to miss the game against Spurs at the weekend. Now, from the stories that we've heard, he's had a couple of scans on the injury to his heel, and Moyes has confirmed that the injury wasn't severe. Well, we saw the way he was walking off the pitch, as well as scans not being able to reveal anything. Doesn't seem to correlate Moyes saying it doesn't look that severe. Reports started to circulate on Monday evening that Bowen had either chipped or cracked a bone in his heel because of the swelling. This is yet to be picked up on a scan. Now, I'm a bit anal about all this sort of stuff, and because I want to deliver facts and not fiction, I read up on what the symptoms of a chipped bone in the heel might be, and here are the common symptoms. Common symptoms of a chipped bone include pain, deformity, and swelling. However, sometimes it can be difficult to tell if the bone is broken or displaced. A person with a broken bone hears a grinding noise at the time of the injury, and they may feel pain when moving or touching that area. There can also be bruising or tenderness around the area too. A chipped bone can occur after a fall or an accident, blah, 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 and a cast or a splint or a brace will hold the bone in your proper position, blah, blah, blah. You may have to wear a cast for 6 to 8 weeks or possibly longer and put no weight on it for 6 to 8 weeks. Now, my theory is this: they don't know. They looked at the scans. They can't pick anything up because I think the swelling is too severe for the scan to pick anything up. They need for the swelling to go down for him to take another scan before they identify what the injury really is. So I'm guessing, because the swelling is quite severe, he's probably chipped a bone or broken a bone in his heel. If that's happened, he's out for a minimum of 6 weeks to 8 weeks, because he won't be able to put any pressure on that on that part of his foot. And then the rehabilitation starts thereafter, which will be anything another 4 weeks. It's quite possible, but don't take my word for it. It's quite possible he might be out for the good part of the rest of this season, and maybe back near the end of it. It's very, very possible. Don't take my word for it, but I was quite anal about this and I read up on it and I thought, well, what does it mean? If you've cracked or chipped a bone in your foot, in your heel, how long does that take? And the fact that the swelling is still there and they can't get any results from the scans seems to suggest that that swelling, it's taken quite a while to go down. And by the time that swelling goes down, that's when they'll be able to take a proper scan and then identify exactly what the problem is. I'm no doctor. Shoot me down. Tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me that I'm talking a load of twaddle. But I've got a feeling that it may be a little bit more severe than we all realise. There's speculation he'll be back a couple of weeks after the international friendlies. Let's see, shall we? Let's see. All right, let's move on. Antonio. Well, he's got a 50-50 chance of playing in the game against Seville on Thursday. We could see he went down clutching his leg, top part of his leg. We thought it might be in a hamstring. It wasn't. It was a groin, and we believe it's something like a tear, a grade 1 tear or a grade 1 sprain. Now, grade 1 is not too serious. It might take a few weeks for him to recover, but that means that's a few weeks. So, does he play on Thursday? There's been talk today, and here's some breaking news. There's been talk today that he's been seen training. Again, don't take my word for it. I don't know. But if he's been seen training, there's every chance he'll play on Thursday. I think maybe he might be more ready for Sunday against Spurs. But we'll see what happens. But that was the rumor today. The rumor is that he's been seen training today, which means that he will possibly be available for the game on Thursday. Who would you rather have, Yarmolenko or Antonio? Right, let's move on. Aaron Creswell, he was also seen going down, and the injury to him was his ankle, which kept him out recently as well. He was subbed off as a precaution, but it's been rumored that, or it's been suggested that there's been no significant damage, and he should be available for Thursday. Now, interestingly, I think of all the players, ironically, you may not agree with me again. If we lose Antonio, we kind of got cover, kind of. Maybe Vlasic, maybe Yarmolenko. If we lose Bowen, well, we've lost Bowen. We kind of got cover there as well, ish. You can play Fornals or Ben Rama or someone else out that side. But when it comes to Creswell, that kind of changes things. And I'm going to show you a few images about team selections in a moment, because that's the one for me that would really sort of throw the cat amongst the pigeons. No pun intended, Zuma. Where if he's unavailable, then that would probably cause us more issues with our team selection than any of the others. So we believe that Creswell is also back as well. Vlasic, he had a minor knock last week, and we believe he's back and he will be made available for the game on Thursday too. And likewise for Yarmolenko. Apparently he went down, but that was more cramp than anything else, or a very slight knock. And we believe that he will be available as well. But does he start? Well, we'll go into that in a moment. And some fantastic news. I mentioned it last week, and then I got worried about saying that Ogbonna might be back in April. But apparently he might be back in April. And that is absolutely superb news. It's amazing. If he's managed to get through the injury that he's had, he's already training. He's on grass, training on grass, etc. And it won't be long before he starts joining up with the rest of the squad in training with them. So that is just superb. Absolutely fantastic. Right. Very last part of the show. Christ, God, bloody hell, people. Hang on a minute. Let's scroll up and where should we go? Let's scroll up to right, let's go from there. Peter, That's Amore. I wonder why we're singing that. Peter, could Moyes turn Rashford back into a footballer? Yes, he absolutely could. Would we sign him? Not for 350. If we can't pay Areola 140 grand a week, we're not paying Marcus Rashford 350 grand a week, unfortunately. John, if you ain't already done so, hit the like button. Don't forget to thank you, mate. I'm shit at doing this. Please, 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 please. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button. And if you really like what you're seeing and what you're hearing, please subscribe as well, and that will give you an alert as to when I'm back on again. I won't be on that often, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. That's all. But it'd be wonderful if you can join me every time I'm on, or as often as you can. Anil, Mike, it's all over for Man U. We can finish above them too. Oh dear, they out. Are they out of the? Oh dear, this is what I laughed at. Still, it's that time where the missus. Where's the missus? She's watching TV and she's not drunk. She. Anyway, Richard, Man U out of the Champions League. Oh well, yeah. Danny, St. Pat's played last night and won 2-0. Isn't that what I said? Maybe I didn't. Danny, I stand corrected. Jesus, how have I not? Have I missed out on all these things? Anyway, Hammerette, great. Now just Borough to knock out Chelsea and us beating Seville. What a great week this has been. Peter, fans wanted Coventry to stay, but Moyes didn't. He didn't. He might change his mind now. Coventry is doing very, very well. I know it's only League One, but I'm really pleased for the boy. I think I've said it several times. I thought he was going to break through 2 seasons ago. That didn't happen. I thought it might be happening this season. This didn't happen. Hopefully, this might next season might be the one for him. Mike, Man United out of the Champions League. Fantastic news. Danny, now Holland will get released if you're a rotation player in the lower league. It just says it already. I do agree, mate. I really do. He was the next high hope, wasn't he? But unfortunately, I'm with you on that. Mike, Anil agreed the team spirit at United is non-existent. They have great players, but they don't play well together. Don't know if it's the manager or manager. Well, he's not a great manager to have given them a good kick up the arse, is he? James, I'll ask Stel to close the show with it. Ask me to close what show with it, mate? What song do you want me to close with? Black Country. Be serious now. I fear for the season now. I don't. Seriously, mate. You know, the one thing that I know we're short on numbers in the squad. I know that. You know, but every time we lose a player, we seem to sort of, by hook or by crook, we seem to survive it. It's really, really odd. Really odd. Peter, is Bowen still getting jiggy? If so, it can't be too serious. I don't know. Mandy, the physio, probably good also. I had to Google it. I was like, I really need to understand what it means if you chip a bone in your heel. What does that mean? It wasn't good news. Hammer it. BCH, I'm confident we will get to Europe next season, regardless of Seville. We will be far better team by then too. Mandy, a chip bone is end of the season. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Like I said, minimum of 6 weeks, you can't put any weight on it. Minimum of 6 weeks. And then you start talking about rehabilitation thereafter, which would be another 3 or 4 weeks at least. You know, you're talking 10 weeks. You're talking right at the end of the season. West Ham Irons, still are you on? No, I'm not. This is my platform now, mate. Yeah, so hit that like button. Long Dark, when you bruise the pads on your heel, it takes a while. Exactly. It absolutely does. Hammerhead, good evening to you. Or is it smoke and mirrors? It might be. It might well be. You know, we know Moyes has done this before, you know, but who knows? All of them might turn up and be fit on Thursday. That would be fantastic. I don't think it will be for Bowen, though. I hope it is smoke and mirrors. Epic shouldn't have did it in January. The season is over if Bowen out for the rest of the season. It's not. It's not over. It's not good, but it's not over. Absolutely not. Anil, did Creswell chip a bone also? He did in his back. How long was he out for? 9 games? Something like that, mate. Yeah. And that was the thought I had in my head. You know, he was out for quite a while. Mice Collective. I'm on the Mice Network. There you go. John, no, own channel. Thank you all. WHU. I knew they would lose Man U. Was watching a live YouTube vlog earlier following the Atletico fans to the ground. So many of them. Yeah, I bet they must be over the moon. Well, Dabs, never thought I would ever hear the words, I want Yarmo to start. There you go. There you go. John, Antonio should be used as an impact sub the last 20 minutes. Wouldn't that be interesting? using Antonio as the impact sub and having Yarmolenko start. There you go. Oh, Ajax and Haller out. Benfica win. Wow. Good result for them. Good result. Vinay, who really believes Antonio will score when he plays as a lone striker? Well, he hasn't lately, has he? Apart from Southampton. I'm not having a go at Antonio. Don't get me wrong. It's just that we saw a very different game when Yarmolenko was put up front against Villa at the weekend. We saw a very different striker approach because let's be honest, Antonio's not a striker. Antonio's a right back, right wing back, right midfielder, etc. So it's not his fault that he's been put there to do a job. Doubt we will see Antonio until after the international break. Bowen even longer, perhaps. Yep, confirm that. Antonio, as I said, apparently, he was seen training today. Don't quote me on it because I'm not an ITK. Apparently, if he has been training today, I expect him to be in the team on Thursday. Starter or no, or not, or on the bench or not, I don't know. But I think maybe, I think he might make the Spurs game. I'm not so sure he'll make the game against Seville on Thursday. Let's scroll down. Black Country. Nothing on the bench. Last summer did nothing. January sweet FA. Forgive my pun. Sorry, jack shit. He's got to fix it, hasn't he? This summer, he's got to. He's got no choice. Garino Cress will be back on Thursday. Yes, I believe so. Paul H. About Bowen is hogwash. He's sold, and his new owners are calling it. No. You did see how he walked off, didn't you? He could barely put any weight on it. I don't buy this thing about he's been sold already. And no. Sorry, mate. With the greatest of respect, I respect everyone's opinion, but I don't necessarily agree with that one. John, make sure you also. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. And also subscribe to Claret and Booze as well. Nice bunch of lads there, and they're a good laugh as well. Garino, time to bring in Yarma, Okoflex and Chesters for the PI and give them some more minutes. Yes, but as I said earlier, Okoflex is not eligible for the Premier League. Sorry, for the Premier League. Yeah, absolutely. Give him an opportunity. Give him more than 3 minutes. Leicester getting 80 million for Maguire is a joke. Leicester getting 8. It is. So if anyone goes out of our team, it'll be more than 150 million. Mike, by the way, does everyone love our sponsorless kit? Didn't it look great? Didn't it look fantastic? I loved it. It took me a while. Even though I was there, it was like, oh yeah, they haven't got Betway on their shirts. John, start Yarmo, give Antonio last 30 minutes. You've gone up from 20 minutes a minute ago. Garino, got a feeling Yarmo is going to star on Thursday. Imagine that. Sharky, love to see Ogbonna back. It would be fantastic. It would absolutely be fantastic. Trev, Yarma isn't 100% fit yet, so not sure we'll be able to play the full 90 minutes. Agreed with that. I don't think he'll play the full 93 minutes, the full 90 minutes. But I wonder if he'll start and then, Antonio on, or maybe Antonio then. Who knows? Let's scroll down because I can't do every comment. Please forgive me. I can't do every comment. Pepe Ariza, come on, Sevilla. Welcome, Pepe. Thank you for joining us. It was a fantastic time. Your city is beautiful. It was the third time I've been there, and it is a fantastic place. And I'll be going back there again in May for the final, Pepe. Pity you won't be there, though, but there you go. James Bong, better get some Barry White on. It's his last appearance. It's 20. Bye. Very funny. Mike, Stel, end the show with Zorba the Great. Shut up. Good evening, Adam. How are you, mate? You only just joined. Don't worry. I'll do a very, very brief summary right at the end of the show. Sorry, I missed who chipped Bowen. Now, the rumor is that he's chipped a bone in his heel or he's cracked a bone in his heel. That's the rumor. If that's correct, like I said, then it'll be out for quite a while yet. Pepe, good fans, the Hammers. But thank you, Pepe. Absolutely fantastic. James, close the show with let's scroll down. Mandy, Antonio doesn't move like a striker. Would he have gotten into that position? Yarman was in for the goal. This is my point. This is what I said earlier. I'm seeing the next comment coming up. Antonio doesn't. No, I don't think he would have done. You're absolutely right, Mandy. You're absolutely right. Nigel, if you're not an ITK, who told you he was training? One of your mates. Dan, the issue with Antonio playing up top is the winger takes over and he moves into the channels, leaving the box empty. We need him to stay in central and do a striker's job. And early season, when he was staying central and doing a striker's job, he was scoring goals. Then all of a sudden, he started to run out wide. I mean, this is the odd thing. Danny, my van is dirty on the outside, and someone has just written Spurs on me back. Oh, mate, cut their fingers off. Mike, Yarmo starting is our best chance of beating Sevilla. I love Antonio, but Yarmo would do the business. See? Interesting how opinions change when a player comes on and scores a cracking goal. Yeah, John, as he said, subscribe to Claret and Booze. It's well fun. It absolutely is. James, Antonio's never a striker, never will score the odd goal, and everyone went crazy at the beginning of the. Yeah, but the reason why he was scoring at him was because he was central. There you go. There you go. Is well fun. Is that English? Ish. It is ish. Uh, Finai. Antonio's a lone striker, worked for a long time. Maybe he was figured out by defenders. No goals, and his limitations of football has been brutally exposed. Not his fault. Put him back on the wing. I say play him up front, but tell him not to go out wide. Play him up front and tell him don't go out wide. Anyone seen? No, I don't know. I messaged him earlier today, but he must be busy drawing. Garino, with all the crap going on in Ukraine, I reckon Yarmo will play with more fire and desire. Yeah, I mean, look at the way, look at the emotional moment on Sunday. I'll tell Bowen chipped Bowen 8 weeks with rest and immobilization quicker if you put it in a cast. It will be quicker, but still going to be a while, still a while. Scott stayed behind at full time and looked like Yarmo was struggling at full time, was holding his hamstring. He was, but apparently it's not so bad. Apparently it's not so bad. Let's scroll down. WHU. Stell has definitely enhanced Claret and Booze channel. They're thinking of introducing a segment called 50 Shades of If any of you saw the show at the weekend, you'll know exactly what WHU is talking about. John, tell the people how cockney you are now. Eating pie and mashing all that. Leave off, mate. Leave off. People know Nigel. Nigel knew he was there with me. All right. I admit. Got the order. Sat down. I went to get the cutlery. I brought knives with the spoon and the fork, but I brought knives as well. Shoot me down. Yeah, and I had to have that green muck all over it as well. Martin, good evening, mate. Mate, you're a mug, never seen you on the front of Millwall, Portsmouth. They're not even from real East End. Great. Thank you for that, Martin. Much appreciated. Hammerette, I just sat down while looking at this phone and sat on my cat. Needless to say, I've been attacked. See, it ain't just Zuma that attacks his cats. There you go. Right, let's move on to the very final part of the show, shall we? So, Seville, how did they fare after they beat us 1-0 last week? Well, at the weekend, they played Rayo Vallecano away from home. And despite 54% possession of the ball and having several chances on targets. They only drew with Rayo Vallecano 1-1. Another draw. Now look, they are second in their league in La Liga. They're a few points behind the league leaders, Real Madrid, but several points ahead of Barcelona. So they're doing quite well. They're doing quite well. But another game away from home that they haven't won. And they also lost to Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa League playoffs a few weeks ago as well. So they've had something like 3 or 4 away draws and defeats over the last few games. So there's all to play for. It's not going to be a walk in the park for them when they come to meet us at the London Stadium on Thursday. Now, 1-1 there. Rakitic was returned. So we know that Ivan Rakitic is probably their best player. He's going to pull the strings in the midfield, and he'll be playing, almost definitely be playing against us on Thursday. The goal scorer against us, El Haddadi Munir, also played, as did Rafa Mir and Lucas Ocampos. But strikers En-Nesyri, Jesus Corona, and Anthony Martial were all rested. Midfielders Gadeji, Torres, and Jordan, who played against West Ham, were all rested as well. So manager Lopetegui has got a number of well-rested players ready for us on Thursday. All in all, Seville will have most of their first team back available, and like I said, Rakitic will be the main player for them. But for us, with potentially up to 6 players injured, that includes Ogbonna, will Moyes' selection starting lineup be difficult to make against Seville? Look, I've already mentioned them, haven't I? Of the players that are possibly out injured, I've already spoken about Vlasic, Creswell, Yarmolenko, Bowen, Ogbonna, etc., etc. My gut instinct, if Creswell doesn't make it, my gut instinct is that he'll go with this lineup. He'll go with Areola in goal, Fredericks out on the right, Johnson on the left, with Zuma and Dawson in the middle, and the usual lineup ahead of him, Declan and Soucek, with Lanzini in the hole, with Benrahma and Fornals supporting Yarmolenko. That's my gut feeling. Now, if Antonio's back and if Creswell's back, then obviously Antonio will start and Creswell will start, and Johnson will go out on the right, and Fredericks will be on the bench. That's my gut feeling. Look down in the bottom right-hand corner there. Bowen, Soufal, Antonio, Creswell, and Ogbonna, as far as we understand, are all possibly injured. And like I said earlier in the show, of those players, quite possibly, Vlasic is back, by the way, so I put him up on the top left of the subs that we could possibly have. Fabianski, Diop, Masuaku, Kral, Vlasic, and Noble. But of those 5 players in the bottom right-hand corner, my understanding is that Creswell is very likely to make it, and it's possible that Antonio might. So if Creswell does play, that'll be the lineup, I think. I think it'll be Johnson out on the right, Creswell on the left, and then the rest of the team as it is. Now, if the players that we all think are injured, then the alternative would be for Moyes to play a system like this. Maybe put 3 at the back with Diop in, and put maybe Johnson and Fornals as wing backs. We know that doesn't suit either of them. And then that kind of disrupts the rest of the team. It kind of disfigures the lineup somewhat. With Benrahma maybe just playing off Yarmolenko, and with Lanzini playing just in front of Declan and Soucek. But I don't think that will happen. I think Moyes will stick with the back 4. And I think if Creswell is fit, I think he will play. And like I said, if Antonio is fit, I think he'll start as well. But my gut tells me that this will be the lineup. It's going to be either that, or it's going to be the fullbacks changing. I don't know. What you think? They've got a lot of players back. All of a sudden, we're the ones with a lot of players who are injured. But I've got a feeling that on Thursday, with the crowd behind them, and I think someone made a comment about it earlier on, with the crowd behind them, I think quite easily we could be on top on this game, and I think we're going to come away with a win. Will we stop them from scoring? They're not scoring that many goals, to be quite honest with you. So there's every chance we could get away with a clean sheet and come away with a 2-0 win, I reckon. or a 3-1 win, I reckon. Right, let's finish off with your comments before we say goodbye for the evening. Let's scroll down. Danny, you know what makes Antonio great is he's West Ham all-time Premier League scorer and a player who has played in various positions. Has any player ever achieved this? No. Look, no one's dissing Antonio. He's been absolutely superb for us without a shadow of a doubt. And but he's not a striker, is he? Really? Mike. Oh no, Peter. Sorry. Green Muck. Did someone sneeze in it? Felt like it. Looked like it, mate. It looked like it. There you go. Mike again. I used to work down the road from Mill. Was always scared to wear a West Ham shirt. I wouldn't blame you. Wouldn't blame you. Mandy. Ever since Saints beat us in the cup, they can't win again. Isn't that fucking ironic? Isn't that ironic? Who scored for Vallecano? I don't know, mate. I did have it written down. No, I didn't have it written down. You're going to tell me who scored for Vallecano, aren't you? And then you're going to tell me the significance of why I should know the name. Howard, other than to dump a filthy mattress, I wouldn't have a clue, Garina, what to be around Millwall. Adam, new Denshi, oh, then different matter. Love the music. I don't know. I found it on YouTube. It's free music, so I've used it. Vinay, with the benefit of hindsight, would you welcome the signing of Mr. Benteke? No, didn't want him. No. Danny again. I parade my West Ham shirt and my car sticker and sign. I'm forever blowing bubbles around Wandsworth near Chelsea. No one's ever tried it. Millwall, who are they? Let's scroll down. Mandy, you just know this game is 1-0, then pens written all over it. I don't want it to go to penalties. I don't. I said to my mates against the Villa game when we're watching the game, I'm going to die. I will have a heart attack at a West Ham game. I know it, and I think that's the sort of thing that will give me a heart attack if it goes to penalties. No, please God, no. Let's scroll down. Black Country. Yeah, penalties. I really think so. We will go through. God, I hope it's finished before that. Adam, we're going to beat Seville in extra time. Have faith we can do this. I have faith. I agree. Absolutely. Danny, just my opinion. I've never liked his management. Just don't think it can take us any further. If you're talking about Moyes, look, I think I said this before. If Moyes gets us to top 6 for the next 3 seasons, I'll bite your hand off. I really would. For me, that's progress. Because progress is about staying up there. It's not like the old West Ham where we have a good season, then a shit season, and worry about relegation. Dan, if we get to the quarterfinals, we're getting tickets then still. You too fucking right we are, mate. Absolutely. Unless it's in Frankfurt and I might have second thoughts. Howard, we do Seville than the Yidders. Conte gets sacked and ends up at Manure. I called it. I haven't seen Frank Butcher for a while. I don't think he knows that I'm on this channel now. So if you chat to him, if you message him, tell him where I am. John, done brilliant for us the last 2 seasons. Danny, remember 2 seasons ago, we were fighting relegation. Moyes has brought us a long way. Absolutely correct. Vinay, Howard Else, hope you're right. Battering of Spurs always welcome. We'll beat him. We'll beat him. We'll beat him. Mike, Everton did well under Moyes. Look where they are now. Frank Lampard's taking them down. All that weight he's carrying is going right down. WHU, excuse me. I think we will win 2-1 against Seville, but go through on penalty. Oh, please don't talk about penalties. I dread to think that we will have penalties. God. Dan, if we get the quarterfinals, are we getting to... You've already asked me that, haven't you? Or did I put that up twice? Adam, we nick 5th and Manure get Conference League. Look, I predicted 5th at the very start of the season. Still a good chance, isn't there? Still a good chance. Hammerette, I cannot wait for Thursday, guys and girls. Getting really excited for it already. I think we can edge this. No extra time, preferably because we have the Spuds a few days later. Absolutely agree there. Steve, I'm going for 3-1. Night all. Mate, thank you for joining. Much appreciated. And thank you for all your comments. Have a good night, mate. Who else have we got? Mandy, it's lovely not worrying about relegation. Is it? I mean, imagine we're now moaning that we might not make top 4. We're really angry about. There's a lot of fans that are really angry about the fact that we might not make top 4. Nigel, Bebby scored. Oh, Bebby, ex-Man United. He played for Man U in the 4-0 Hammers win. I knew there'd be a significance. I knew it. I knew there would be. There you go. Garino, just enjoy the game Thursday. Yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the atmosphere is going to be great. An evening game under the light, proper European football. An evening under the lights, absolutely fantastic. John, Stella, if you're worried about having a heart attack, mate, don't let your wife. Anil, this has been the most exciting period of my supporting the Irons. Can't wait for the next game. It's exactly what it's meant to be about. It's meant to be exciting. Theatre, real life theatre football is. Scott, extra time scares me with our lack of depth. It scares me as well for many other reasons. Score predictions, I said it. It's I've got to choose 2-0 or 3-1. I don't think we've got enough to score 3 goals, but I think we might keep them at bay. 2-0. 2-0. Scott, it is almost your favourite tune of the week coming up in a minute, mate. Paul won't be saying that when we win Europa. We will win the Europa League. Did I mention that the Europa League finals on the day of my 60th birthday? There you go. It's a sign. It's a sign I'm celebrating out there. My 60th birthday, watching us lift that European trophy. Superstar, I need some more Netflix. Oh, mate, we've run dry. A couple. Let me think about it next time, mate, and I'll give you a few, definitely, a few suggestions. And Hammerette, Doctor, I think I'm suffering from Groundhog Day. Doctor, no, that's a gondola day. You need more Zamorosity. Oh dear, awful. Right, let me just run through what I talked about tonight, very, very, very briefly. So we started off about Yarmolenko and you know how fantastic it was, and then I talked about Seville and the absolutely amazing atmosphere out there. Talked a little bit about the 2 games that we played recently, and then talked about the transfer window and would West Ham or David Moyes, more to that effect, do any business in either the Ukrainian or the Russian in leagues? And the answer is absolutely no, despite the fact that there's Claudinho, Casiera, Drea, Victor Moses, Dejan Lovren, Tete, Pedrinho, Lissana Traore or Theo being available. Anyway, talked about Anang and Coventry and Holland and Odebeko on their loan spells, and then talked in great depth about Jared Bowen and if it is a chip bone, how long he might be out for. Antonio, apparently he was seen training today. Don't quote me on it. Creswell should be fit. Vlasic should be fit. Yarmolenko should be fit. Bonner is coming back in April, and then talked about Rakitic being back for Seville on Thursday, and then we looked a little bit about the lineups, possible lineups. Without Creswell, I think that'll be the lineup. With him, I think that'll be the lineup. That's your lot. Thank you very much indeed. Really much appreciated. You've kept me on my toes as you usually do, and that's fantastic. Thank you all. And just for you, Scott, see you all very, very soon. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then you'll know next time I'm on.